So Dimension W does what other anime have done, yet it managed to do it right. Oh my gosh, I mentioned in a previous blog that I dropped Babuki Baranki and Divigate because they tried to do too many things and their respective focuses just got lost in the mix. Here Dimension W goes down a more horror route, but instead of this episode losing its focus, which I thought it was going to do at first, it kept its focus actually, and it managed to make horror work within its overall setup. Good script writing. So in episode 4 of Dimension W, Kiyoma and Mira visit a haunted hotel where a writer was killed in order to find out what caused his death, since the robot which was filming everything didn't catch the most important part. Now this is where I got a little worried about how this episode would turn out in the end. The beginning of this episode starts with Mira seeing a ghost, and that ghost was not picked up on her internal memory logs, so there's me thinking that this episode will go into the supernatural zone and this whole anime will lose its prized science fiction focus. Yet as the episode progressed, we find out that the ghosts are actually heavily linked with Dimension W, so in the end the ghosts are actually science fiction ghosts. Episode saved! So Mira is tasked by Kiyoma to scan all these horror novels which the dead writer wrote, but somehow Mira ends up in a parallel world inspired by the horror novels, it seems. Kiyoma then ends up fighting off these bad guys who want to make the hotel owner sleep so that somehow a connection can be made between the real world and the parallel horror world, which seems to be stemming from Dimension W. I know, this episode probably requires a second watch in order to fully understand everything, but upon my first watching, I guess most of it actually makes sense. Students died years ago, their ghosts return and kill the writer, and now bad guys are trying to connect the writer's horror world from Dimension W with the real world for some reason. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about all this. So yeah, this episode had science fiction and action, but it also had mystery and horror. Those two genres usually work quite well with cyberpunk, and they worked really well in this episode. It's cool that this anime is not going to be, just a whole mission of the week anime where Kiyoma and Mira are just finding illegal coils every week. No. The missions of the week can actually be about Dimension W itself, and as this episode proves, there can be all manner of stories centered around that dimension. And it's not all about just collecting illegal coils. Boy, all this creativity means that this anime can stay fresh. Now that Mira is in danger, at least I think she's in danger, she seems to be sounding quite positive nonetheless, or maybe that's just the voice actress, and Kiyoma is trying to save Mira. Perhaps at the end of all this, Kiyoma will probably start being nice to Mira, maybe? Either that, or Kiyoma will continue to be horrible to Mira as his way of showing his love.